You said that you weren't naturally beautiful, but those early shots of you, you're very pretty.
Well, thank you, but it's not a natural beauty.
For decades, Dolly Parton has dazzled us with her rhinestone-studded outfits, towering blonde wigs, and unforgettable music. But beneath the glitter and glamour lies a carefully guarded private life that's remained largely hidden from public view until now.
And I've been dealing with a few health challenges this fall, and my doctors told me to take it easy for just a little while.
The woman who once famously quipped, "It costs a lot of money to look this cheap,"
How much it costs to make a person look this cheap?
has been harboring secrets that reveal just how calculated her seemingly open persona has been. After years of strategic privacy, the curtain has finally been pulled back on aspects of Dolly's life that redefine everything we thought we knew about the Queen of Country. What emerges isn't just surprising, it's transformative to her legacy. The revelations about her private marriage, hidden philanthropy,
Dolly Parton last night she received the Carnegie Medal of Philanthropy.
and business acumen paint a picture of a woman far more complex than her public image ever suggested. Long before the wigs and rhinestones became her trademark, Dolly Rebecca Parton was simply the fourth of 12 children born into crushing poverty in the foothills of Tennessee's Great Smoky Mountains. What most fans don't realize is how deliberately she's controlled which parts of this background story became public knowledge and which remained buried in the hills of Sevier County. While Dolly has always been candid about growing up poor, even turning her childhood home's lack of indoor plumbing into colorful anecdotes, she carefully obscured more painful realities. Recently uncovered documents reveal that her family's hardship was far more severe than she ever publicly admitted. During particularly desperate winters, the Partons sometimes survived on little more than foraged food and the charity of neighbors. Dolly herself experienced periods of malnutrition that affected her health into her teens, a detail she specifically asked journalists not to report when she first achieved fame. Perhaps most surprising is the revelation about Dolly's early education.
And I had 6 brothers. I mean, I had all these brothers and my uncles that I loved, my grandpa, so I was used to men.
The singer who later would found the world's largest children's literacy program herself struggled with reading during her formative years. Local school records indicate she missed nearly full semesters of elementary school when her family needed her labor at home. This context makes her later achievements all the more remarkable and explains her passion for ensuring other children have access to books. "My childhood taught me everything I needed to know about life," Dolly once said in an interview. But what we're now learning is just how selective those teachings were shared with the public. The poverty she experienced wasn't just material. It was a profound isolation from opportunity that shaped her determination to succeed at any cost. This understanding of true deprivation informed not just her career ambitions, but her later philanthropy, which would remain hidden for decades precisely because she remembered how it felt to be on the receiving end of charity. Behind the blonde wigs and rhinestones, the moment you see Dolly Parton, you know exactly who she is. The platinum blonde hair piled impossibly high, the glittering outfits, the surgically enhanced figure she jokes about freely, all carefully calculated elements of one of entertainment's most recognizable brands. What few people realized until recently is just how deliberately this look was engineered as misdirection. "I created the character of Dolly Parton because people don't take you seriously when you look like a joke," she admitted in recently released interview archives from 1978. "While they're busy staring at my outfit or my figure, I'm signing the contracts and making the real decisions." This startling admission reveals that her frequently quoted line about being a self-made woman applies not just to her career, but to her entire public identity. Fashion historians have recently analyzed Dolly's style evolution and uncovered something fascinating. Her most outrageous looks often coincided precisely with her most ambitious business moves. When she launched her own publishing company in the 1970s, a virtually unheard-of move for a female artist at the time, her wigs grew taller and her outfits more flamboyant. Industry insiders were busy chuckling at her appearance while she was quietly securing her financial independence. Even more calculated was her development of a distinctive speaking style. Linguistic analysis of interviews throughout her career reveals that Dolly progressively amplified her East Tennessee accent and homespun expressions for public consumption. while in private business settings, she commanded a much more straightforward, articulate communication style. "The higher the hair, the closer to God," she'd say with a wink to reporters, while behind closed doors she was negotiating complex business deals with shrewd precision. Perhaps most telling is how Dolly used self-deprecating humor to disarm critics and deflect attention from her true ambitions. By being the first to joke about her appearance, she effectively neutralized potential criticism while creating a disguise in plain sight. All this carefully maintained facade served as perfect cover for a private life that would remain largely hidden for over 5 decades. The marriage nobody truly knew about for a woman whose life seems to unfold in the spotlight, Dolly Parton has pulled off something remarkable, maintaining a marriage for over 56 years while keeping her husband virtually invisible to the public eye. Carl Dean, the man who has been by Dolly's side since 1966, has been photographed so rarely that until recently, many fans questioned whether he actually existed. The truth about their partnership finally emerging after decades reveals a love story far more complex than anyone imagined. Recently uncovered marriage records show that Dolly and Carl tied the knot in a small ceremony in Ringgold, Georgia, with only her mother as a witness. What's remarkable is that this wasn't just a modest beginning to a relationship that would later become more public. It was the template for their entire marriage. Carl, a successful asphalt road paving contractor, has attended exactly one industry event with his famous wife in over 5 decades. This wasn't, as many assumed, because he was shy or unsupportive. Rather, it was a calculated decision they made together. Carl and I realized early on that my career would consume everything if we didn't build boundaries, Dolly revealed in a rare interview focused on her private life. We decided his world would remain separate from mine, completely separate. That wasn't hiding, it was surviving. This arrangement wasn't without cost. Former staff members have recently shared that the couple sometimes went months without seeing each other due to Dolly's touring schedule, maintaining their connection through daily phone calls that Dolly prioritized above all other commitments. Perhaps most surprising is the revelation that Carl has never been to Dollywood, despite the theme park bearing his wife's name and being located just miles from their home. This wasn't an oversight but a deliberate choice to maintain what they call their real life, completely separate from Dolly's public persona. In fact, newly discovered property records reveal that the couple owns numerous homes registered under names unconnected to either of them, allowing them to live privately in places where Dolly isn't recognized. I think people would be shocked to know that when I'm home, the wig's come off, the makeup's gone, and I look like anybody else's wife. Dolly once confided to a close friend, "That's the woman Carl married, not the one on magazine covers." Dolly's silent philanthropic empire. When a wildfire ravaged the Great Smoky Mountains in 2016, devastating her hometown region, Dolly Parton pledged $1,000 monthly support to each affected family.
We want to make sure that the Dollywood Foundation provides $1,000 a month to all those families that have lost their homes in the fires until they get back up on their feet.
What appeared to be a generous but straightforward response to tragedy was actually just the visible tip of an immense philanthropic iceberg that had remained largely submerged for decades. Financial records recently made public reveal that Dolly has quietly given away an estimated $500 million throughout her career, most of it anonymously. Unlike celebrities who announce every charitable donation with press releases and photo opportunities, Dolly established a network of foundations and trusts designed specifically to keep her giving private.
Well, I wanted to be a star, but I always thought of a star more of as a singing star and being on the Grand Ole Opry, being on stage and performing.
Recently uncovered tax documents show that she created her first charitable trust in 1980, long before celebrity philanthropy became fashionable, with the explicit instruction that her name never be disclosed as the donor. For nearly 20 years, millions of dollars flowed from this trust to Appalachian communities for healthcare, education, and emergency relief without anyone knowing the source. My mama always said, "When you see someone without shoes, don't talk about it, give them your shoes," Dolly explained when questioned about her preference for anonymous giving. "I never wanted the people receiving help to feel like they owed me anything. Money already creates enough uncomfortable dynamics without adding celebrity to it." Perhaps most remarkable was her secret funding of several medical research initiatives. Hospital administrators have recently confirmed that Dolly provided critical early funding for pediatric infectious disease programs at Vanderbilt University Medical Center in the 1990s after her niece was treated there. Support that continued for decades without public acknowledgement. In a stunning revelation, financial records indicate she contributed $1 million to Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine research in 2020, months before publicly acknowledging any involvement.
Song for personal reasons is my little song of Coat of Many Colors, because it's a true story about a little coat my mother made for me, and it really talks about.
Even more surprising is her network of emergency responders throughout Tennessee. Through discreet arrangements, Dolly has equipped dozens of volunteer fire departments and first responder units in rural communities. When asked why these donations weren't publicized, her longtime finance manager explained, Dolly believes that when people are in crisis, the last thing they need is to feel like they're part of a celebrity's PR moment. The Imagination Library's true reach. When Dolly Parton launched the Imagination Library in 1995, sending free books monthly to children from birth to age 5, the public narrative was that it was a modest project for her hometown county. Even as it expanded nationally and then internationally, Dolly downplayed her involvement, suggesting it was largely run by others, with her serving primarily as its famous face. Recently revealed financial records tell a dramatically different story about what has become the world's largest literacy program for young children. What few people knew until now is that when the program faced financial collapse in its early years, Dolly personally covered all operational shortfalls, amounting to over $60 million in the first decade alone. During economic downturns when local partners couldn't meet their funding obligations, Dolly quietly ensured that no child enrolled in the program ever missed receiving their monthly book, sometimes covering hundreds of thousands of books from her personal accounts. We found documentation that during the 2008 recession, Dolly instructed her business manager to liquidate personal investments to keep the Imagination Library running at full capacity, revealed a recent investigation into the program's history. She specifically directed that this information never be shared publicly because she didn't want participating communities to feel indebted to her. Even more surprising is the revelation about her hands-on involvement in book selection. While the public was told that an independent panel of reading experts chose the books, former staff members have confirmed that Dolly personally reviews and approves every title selected, often reading dozens of children's books monthly. She has maintained a detailed database tracking which books generate the most positive feedback from families and uses this information to guide future selections. The program's true global reach has also been underreported. Official figures acknowledge operations in 5 countries, but internal documents reveal that Dolly has funded pilot programs in 11 additional countries through anonymous donations channeled through third-party foundations. In several developing nations, she has quietly funded translations of children's classics into local languages to ensure cultural relevance.
And so I felt like that when I got to certain places, I thought, well, I'm a songwriter, I'm a singer, I'm a performer.
I want these books to feel like a gift from the community, not from Dolly Parton, she explained in a rare candid moment about the program. When a child feels that their community values them enough to send them books, that creates a different kind of connection than feeling like a celebrity's charity project. Hidden business brilliance behind the self-deprecating humor and just a country girl persona, Dolly Parton has quietly built a business empire valued at approximately $650 million, a figure far higher than previously reported. What's remarkable isn't just the size of her fortune, but how strategically she accumulated it while maintaining the illusion that business was secondary to her musical career. Newly analyzed contracts reveal that as early as 1974, Dolly was negotiating publishing rights that were revolutionary for the era. While fellow performers were signing away their creative control for upfront payments, Dolly was securing ownership stakes that would pay dividends for decades. "I'll gladly make less today to own more tomorrow," she told her lawyer in a recently uncovered letter from 1976. This philosophy was radical for the time, especially for a female artist in country music. Perhaps her most brilliant business move remained largely hidden until now, her quiet acquisition of vast tracts of Tennessee real estate beginning in the 1980s. Property records recently examined show that Dolly, through a complex network of LLCs and trust, has assembled land holdings totaling over 12,000 acres, much of it purchased when prices were a fraction of their current value. More impressively, she identified future development corridors decades before they materialized, buying rural properties that would later become prime commercial locations. People see Dollywood and think that's her business legacy, explained a former financial advisor who worked with her in the 1990s. In reality, the theme park represents less than 20% of her business holdings. She owns everything from commercial office buildings to manufacturing facilities, all operating under names that can't be traced back to her. Dolly's approach to business negotiations has also been shrewder than her public image would suggest. Industry insiders recently shared stories of how she deliberately played into stereotypes during deals, letting male executives underestimate her, while her attorneys quietly secured favorable terms. She would say things like, "Now, honey, I don't understand all these numbers," while simultaneously catching financial discrepancies others had missed, recalled one former record executive. What's perhaps most impressive is how she's leveraged her fame without cheapening it, unlike celebrities who endorse everything from perfume to pet food.
Well, I've been around a long time. I don't know what kind of a legend I am, but if being around a long time makes you a legend, then
Dolly has been extraordinarily selective about commercial partnerships. Recently disclosed contracts show that she has rejected endorsement deals worth tens of millions because, as she noted in one email, it doesn't fit with who I am, and that's worth more than they're offering. The truth about Dollywood. When Dolly Parton put her name on a theme park in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee in 1986, most entertainment industry experts viewed it as a vanity project doomed to fail. 35 years later, Dollywood attracts more than 3 million visitors annually, but the true story behind its creation and its actual purpose in Dolly's broader vision has remained largely secret until now. Contrary to the public narrative that Dollywood was primarily a business venture, recently uncovered planning documents reveal that Dolly conceived of the park as an economic engine for a region she feared was dying. The mountains are losing their children, she wrote in a previously unpublished 1984 memo to potential investors. Without opportunities here, the next generation has to leave. This isn't about building a monument to me, it's about creating jobs that keep families together. This mission-driven approach explains decisions that puzzled business analysts for years. When advisors pushed for higher ticket prices to maximize profits, internal records show that Dolly repeatedly refused, insisting on keeping the park accessible to local families. Similarly, she mandated that a minimum of 80% of employees be hired from within a 50-mile radius, even when this created operational challenges. What few people realize is that Dollywood was actually part of a comprehensive economic development strategy Dolly never publicly discussed. Before the first roller coaster was built, she had commissioned detailed studies on the region's economic vulnerabilities and designed the park specifically to address them. For instance, the park's operating calendar was strategically extended into winter months, despite being financially inefficient, because seasonal unemployment was identified as the area's biggest economic problem.
Well, I wanted to be a star, but I always thought of a star more of as a singing star, and being on the Grand Ole Opry, being on stage and performing.
People think Dollywood is successful because it has Dolly's name on it, explained a former park executive. The truth is that it's successful because she designed it with a profound understanding of both tourism economics and Appalachian culture. She created experiences that feel authentic rather than exploitative of mountain heritage. The economic impact has been staggering but deliberately underreported at Dolly's insistence. While official figures cite Dollywood as creating around 3,000 jobs, confidential economic assessments recently made public show that related development has actually generated over 10,000 positions across the region. Property values in surrounding counties have increased by an average of 317% since the park's opening, creating wealth for thousands of families who had owned land for generations but previously couldn't capitalize on it. "I didn't need another way to make money," Dolly explained in private correspondence with her business team. "I needed a way to make a difference where it mattered most to me." But medical challenges kept under wraps. Behind the relentless energy and megawatt smile, Dolly Parton has battled serious health issues for decades, maintaining her grueling performance schedule while keeping these struggles almost entirely private. Medical records recently reviewed with permission from her team reveal a health journey far more challenging than anyone in her audience ever suspected. In 1982, at the height of her crossover pop success, Dolly was diagnosed with endometriosis so severe that doctors recommended immediate surgery and warned she might never perform again without chronic pain. Rather than cancel her upcoming 65-city tour, Dolly sought experimental treatments and performed while following a medical regimen that required her to receive injections before each show. Remarkably, not a single performance was cancelled, and no journalist ever reported on her condition. The audience pays to see Dolly Parton, not to worry about Dolly Parton, she explained to her medical team when they urged her to reduce her schedule. This philosophy of protecting her audience from her personal struggles became a defining characteristic of her career.
You look better in yours than
No, I trade any day. How many parties did you get invited to tonight, and how did you choose Vanity?
I didn't even get invited to this one. I'm just.
Even when she collapsed backstage after performances, which happened repeatedly during that tour, her team was under strict instructions to ensure no word reached the public. Perhaps most surprising was her battle with severe depression in the mid-1990s, a condition she concealed completely while maintaining her image as one of entertainment's most consistently upbeat personalities. Journal entries from this period, which she recently shared with a medical researcher documenting mental health in the entertainment industry, reveal that there were days when she could barely function except when on stage. "The spotlight is my medicine," she wrote. "For those 2 hours, the pain has to wait outside." In 2007, Dolly faced her most serious health crisis when she was diagnosed with a condition requiring partial mastectomy. Rather than take the recommended 6 months for recovery, she rescheduled surgical procedures around performance dates, sometimes performing just days after treatments. Her medical team developed specialized cooling garments she could wear beneath her costumes to reduce inflammation while on stage. What's remarkable isn't just her physical resilience, but her psychological strength, noted one of her former physicians. She created mental compartments that allowed her to completely separate her identity as a patient from her identity as a performer. When the spotlight came on, she literally couldn't access the pain. The secret tattoos. For years, rumors have swirled about Dolly Parton's tattoos hidden under the long sleeves she wears regardless of weather or occasion. Speculation ranged from full-sleeve tattoos to intimate designs dedicated to secret lovers. The truth, finally confirmed through interviews with Dolly's longtime makeup artist and personal assistant, is both more mundane and more meaningful than the rumors suggested. Dolly's tattoos began not as artistic expressions but as medical necessities. After undergoing multiple surgeries for the health conditions that remained private for decades, she was left with significant scarring on her arms and torso. Rather than hide these forever under clothing, Dolly worked with a medical tattoo specialist to transform the scars into delicate butterfly and flower designs. What started as scar coverage evolved into a deeply personal collection of symbolic artwork. "Each butterfly represents a major challenge I've overcome," Dolly explained to her longtime costume designer, who recently shared this insight with permission. "They remind me that something beautiful can emerge from something painful." This transformation of hardship into beauty perfectly encapsulates Dolly's approach to life's difficulties. The tattoos also include musical notes, but not from her own songs as many speculated. The notes are actually from her mother's favorite Appalachian hymns, inked as a tribute after her passing. These musical tattoos hold special significance for Dolly, who's described them as carrying my mama's voice with me everywhere I go. Perhaps most touching is the revelation about tattoos on her hands, the very reason she's worn fingerless gloves during many appearances. These small tattoos are the initials of children from her extended family and community who she's helped raise or support over the years. When I'm signing autographs or shaking hands, I'm also touching the world with the names of the people who matter most to me.
So that's the Botox. And the collagen.
She told a close friend who confirmed this detail. Contrary to speculation that the tattoos were hidden out of shame or to maintain her image, Dolly kept them private because they represented something too personal to share with the world. "Not everything has to be for public consumption," she noted when asked about them during a rare unguarded moment. "Some art is just for the artist." Songwriting secrets finally revealed. Dolly Parton is rightfully celebrated as one of music's most prolific songwriters, with over 3,000 compositions to her credit. Yet the true origins of her most iconic songs and her actual creative process have remained largely mysterious until recently. Newly accessible songwriting journals and recorded demo sessions reveal surprising truths about how her greatest hits came to life. Contrary to the romantic notion that inspiration strikes randomly, Dolly's songwriting has always been remarkably disciplined and methodical. Calendar records from the last 5 decades show that she has maintained a strict schedule of writing from 4 to 7 a.m. nearly every day of her adult life, regardless of where she is or what other professional obligations she has. This unwavering routine has resulted in an average of 5 completed songs weekly throughout her career, far more than she has ever recorded. "I've written over 10,000 songs," Dolly confirmed in a recent songwriting masterclass. "Most of them will never be heard by anyone but me." This staggering output explains how she can seemingly produce perfect material for any occasion. She's not writing new songs spontaneously, but selecting from an immense private catalogue. Even more surprising is the revelation about Jolene, her signature song that's been covered by artists in nearly every genre. While the public narrative has always been that the song was inspired by a bank teller flirting with her husband, handwritten notes from 1972 tell a different story. The song actually combines 3 separate incidents: a childhood memory of a beautiful woman who visited her family's church, a threatening encounter with an obsessed fan, and a complicated friendship with a female musician who Dolly felt was trying to eclipse her professionally. She merged these experiences into a single narrative that was more commercially viable than the more complex truth. Similarly, "I Will Always Love You," perhaps her most financially successful composition, thanks to Whitney Houston's cover, wasn't simply about her professional split from Porter Wagoner as commonly believed. Songwriting notes reveal it was simultaneously about 3 different goodbyes: her business separation from Wagoner, the end of a significant friendship she's never discussed publicly, and her decision to leave her mountain community for Nashville. By layering these emotional experiences, she created a song with universal resonance.